Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.
What up YouTube, it's your boy Donnie, aka Dugo, and today guys, we got a webcam, I know, but today guys, we will be talking about, is Marvel Rivals dying? It's not like something that's been talked about as much recently, but I have heard it through some other people, but I made a video similar to this like a year ago, close to this date, and I kind of want to talk about where I stand and my standpoint is through it all. So if you guys do enjoy, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Go check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/NFTL I'm leaving the description down below as well, so don't you worry. That's where we'll be streaming, as I am currently right now. I stream Friday to Saturday, excluding today and tomorrow, for streams from 12 to 3 p.m. So hope you guys do enjoy, and make sure you guys do check out that Twitch. Go follow it. Go follow all my socials that they'll be down in the description below, including TikTok, X, Instagram. And if you guys do agree, make sure to comment down below if you guys agree with me, if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Let me guys know down in the description, comments down below. And yeah, let's get started. So, personally, me, I'm always hearing the like, is Rivals dying? Argument a lot. I think personally, like, okay, I use this a lot in terms of streaming numbers. Things are going to be different, but this is just to show the streaming numbers. Get rid of that. So right now, Rivals is around 30,000 views, which is, they're kind of like go-to, right? You can see a game like Deadlock, which was, I remember, viewed as like a competition. I remember it got launched earlier this year. We saw people like Tim do videos on it. But you see, it has 6,000, Rivals has 30,000. Rivals has kind of always really stayed close to that 30,000 mark. You see games like Apex are like under 20,000, which is kind of unusual for them, as they are usually around that 20,000 mark, and then Fortnite 102,000, which is actually exceeded that mark. I've seen them a lot recently on the 50,000 mark. But you see like half of it's being carried right now by Jinxie, right? And then you see someone like Flat, which is a pretty big rival streamer, be playing Minecraft right now. So it's like, practically right now, like, Rivals has their player base. When it comes to streaming, they have never really, besides when they first dropped, they haven't gone close to the 100,000 mark. They never have. But you look at a game like Overwatch, you see the same thing. These games are two similar type games, and they have around the similar viewership. And so that's to be expected. Like, I always see people compare Rivals to Fortnite, right? And it's just like, you can't do that because they're not the same, like, game to me. They're two separate games. I've always said this, to me, Fortnite's dead. I know people are gonna be like, what? To me, Fortnite's dead. To me, Fortnite died when they stopped focusing it as a battle royale game and they focused it as like this big Roblox variation, like, trying to compete with Roblox instead of competing with like battle royales. And I understand battle royales got stale, but that was on them. People have always like complained about movement and stuff, and then when Fortnite eventually added it, people were like, it's not good enough. People like, they want to complain. Like, it's not the fact that they complain about it being ass. It's more the fact that why did it take them like 3 seasons? When someone sits there and tells you, hey, can you please add this because the game needs it, and then you sit there and listen to them, but you listen to them and decide to wait 3 months or 3 seasons or whatever the fuck, it's like, okay, now that's not where they want. It's totally far back. It's like, you can't sit there and compare 2 games that are so far apart, because now this game, even though it says Fortnite Battle Royale, it's practically Fortnite Roblox, right? You gotta compare the game like Marvel Rivals to other games around it, which is like Overwatch, which is sort of like Deadlock, right? Those are the ones that I know of. And then the other thing that you could do is look at player count. So you can see their all-time peak hit that 600,000 mark. And that's when the game first dropped. Alright. And then you see over here, you hit the 24-hour peak, and they peaked around 100,000 players. Which, when you look at the streaming numbers, you see that's a lot more players in the streaming numbers. You don't always want to go after the streaming numbers. But the reason why I do that is because you want to look at the games it compares to. About what Overwatch, right? This right now is practically around similar to Overwatch. It's leading Overwatch right now. Last time I checked, I thought I said Overwatch is 23, so either A, they gained 3,000, or I just started backwards, which could be right. And I do that a lot. But you see it, like, it has its biggest drop off, right? So these are the players that it will hit below 80 or so, and then new season drops or something, and then boom. This is probably what happened here. I'm being dead ass. Is probably the rise of Cyclops. I think this is the when Cyclops had dropped, right? And then it still countered, like, it went from 100,000 to 70,000 up back to 100. So it's really like people are getting off because it's nighttime or it's really early morning and you're only getting streamers. Alright. The game isn't dying. They have an average, and their average is usually around 75,000 people. Right? And so for a game to die, like, you need to understand when a game like this has a big peak, it needs to flesh out how many of these players are going to be loyal, how many of these players are going to be, like, okay, you gotta think with this. You got loyal players, right? So it goes from 600,000, and then now it needs to flesh out. So you gotta find out who's gonna be loyal, who's gonna grind, who's gonna understand the game properly, and who's going to want to create and make the game better, right? So you got like 4 possibilities of what people say. Alright. And so a game like Fortnite hit on so many bases because of the fact that it got people into watching, it was a big YouTube sensation. But that was because so many Battle Royale players, it was at a Battle Royale time. Rivals isn't getting into like an Overwatch type FPS shooter time. Like, they launched at like, also this game could have been bigger if it was released during a peak Marvel era. If we're talking like MCU. But, and these are like just the Steam numbers. So like you gotta think about like maybe other like numbers, like the Epic Games numbers, which is probably not a lot, but when you look at the 24-hour peak, they do peak pretty well, right? They do hit 100,000, and that's because it's late at night. There's either A, no one's sleeping, or people are either A, coming inside from playing outside if they're kids, or if they're getting out of work. Like, you gotta think about all that. So I will say their average really is around 80,000. And you see their charts down here of when, like, popularity. Sundays are usually, like, their biggest. That's because no one's working. And then they have, like, a couple 60s down here, but at the middle of the week, people are working. And then they get to the end of the weeks, and it's, like, rises again. And that being because people are either getting days off, or it's later at the end of the week where people aren't working. Alright. But, like, to me, you could say they hit around 80,000 people a day, right? And so, to me, Rivals isn't dying. People just, like, expect big numbers from games, and they're like, well, Fortnite has died and had to rechange their format in their game because they had to address an issue, and that was because Battle Royale was dying. And I had a conversation about this with my brother on my YouTube stream. I wanted to see if I could pull that up. So our discussion, we're talking about Fortnite Battle Royale if it was dead. And he was like, no, Fortnite kind of format, you know, they know the system, they know how to get people. I think at the time we were playing, there was like 300,000 people playing Battle Royale. Right, but my brother wasn't understanding it as like a method of like people, he didn't understand how big the sprites were. And I've, of course, kept my knowledge of Fortnite because I got people who still follow up, play the game. And sprites are the biggest thing, right? They are like, because there are rare ones, you want to have rare ones, and they take a lot of tries. You can't get them first try, right? And so you talk about how the fact that the game was dead if there were 300,000 people wrong. Like, yeah, but that's just the sprite fatigue. Right now, everyone's so hyped with sprites, so eventually the sprites are going to die out, and they got to reformat their entire battle royale system, but it's not the battle royale system, right? And so we had a pretty lengthy. Like, I'm not gonna play the entire thing. I probably won't play all of it or any of it. But to a recap, to kind of get my brain going, was he had like an understanding like Fortnite was not dead because of how big it was, and like they were a battle royale. Like they first were Save the World, but no one cared about Save the World, so they did a battle royale because of how big battle royales were at the time. And they didn't try copying or anything. They tried to be different and unique, which is why they added the build system. But everything was different. It attracted more to the kid side by the way that the game looked. It looked more cartoony compared to like what was being sold at the time, which was PUBG and H2Z, with the realistic esque graphics. But eventually, the Fortnite system had just, I don't know, it just fucked up. Like, to me, Fortnite Battle Royale went from Chapter 1 all the way to Chapter 4, but Chapter 4 is where it ended. And that's where things start to stall out. And I really saw the chapter previously. I like Chapter 3. I like Chapter 3 Season 1, and I like Chapter 3 Season 4. Right? The other two ones I just don't like. Number 1, Season 2 introduced Zero Build, which I thought at the time was a good idea, but it divided the fuck out of the community. Instead of sitting there and putting any interest at kind of building off of it, they're like, okay, people who can't build, we're going to throw them into a side. People who can build, we'll throw them to another side, right? And pretty much if you played Zero Build, you were shit at building, and then if you played builds, you were sweaty, and it's just like, it didn't help the fucking community, right? And it's just like, you're helping the people who can't build because they're going to get sweats, and that issue you could solve by having no skill. Like, skill-based matchmaking works to a point, but even then, you're going against bots, right? You're only going to learn to get better if you go against that, right? And they weren't doing that, right? And then half of the reason why like everything was all fucked up is because they started, in Chapter 4, were starting to focus heavily into creative. And I hate it because like creative used to be viewed as like fun little maps, right? But it was practice, it was box fights, it was zone wars, it was aim trainers, it was like edit races, it was like all this bullshit that we would use to get better, and they focus heavily into it, right? And so the game is not dead, but it's dead to me. I think the game is done for battle royale wise. That's why I don't play it, because I don't care for the creative side. Like, they're never gonna touch Roblox. Roblox has been around for fucking almost a decade and a half, right? And they come up with content every day, while Fortnite uses, like, they kind of steal their content. So that's just me. But it's just like their community is going to be viewed as so big too, because how many little kids watch the game, because they have so many streamers who they pay to play their game. And it's not even a sponsored stream. Like, usually people get sponsored, like, ads to go do that, but it's just like, when you're partnered with them, yeah, you're gonna fucking keep playing and talking great about it. But it's just like, I made fun of Cypher so many times because he doesn't critique the game the best way possible. He's like so nonchalant positive about his critiques, and it's just like, dude, shut the fuck up, please. Like, I can't stand it, right? But when you look at player base, like they eventually found their true player base when it came to the newer side of Fortnite, and that's around 1 million people. But that's because that's 1 million that's 1 million people playing not just Battle Royale. Like, I did a whole thing about it, I think, in a YouTube video or something. But it's like, Rivals eventually found out their shit. But that's why, like I said, don't compare Rivals to Fortnite, compare Rivals to Overwatch. If you see the amount of people playing this, like, let's, honest to God, just go check Overwatch. Right? So currently, right now, technically, Overwatch has less players. So, technically, this is Overwatch 2, not really Overwatch 1, which is Overwatch Origins. But you could definitely see Marvel's beating them, which is crazy to say. But then when you look at Twitch, like, that's why he said don't use Twitch. right? Because you would make it look like number one, no one's playing the game, but you would look at it as like Overwatch right now has got more people playing it, well, more people watching now, right? You could look at it as like these are close player counts, just by this like reality it's not. Overwatch has 30,000 less players, right? Like you just gotta understand, people. The game has to find its player count. Who's gonna be loyal? Who's gonna play the game? Who's gonna keep doing this? Right? And it's like it's not gonna be as simple as you're not gonna get a million players. No one's gonna get a million players unless everyone gets that. And Marvel and Overwatch both won't get the attraction like Fortnite. Like Fortnite is built off of tons of content creators, right? And that will get into like the fact that like you look at Tim. Tim is a constant. Like I will count Tim as a current day Rivals player. Of course you could say that, but he's the guy that will sit there and play the game every day, right? He puts in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus hours a day on the game. Plays it every day, and if it's not Rivals, it's Overwatch. Okay? But here's the thing. Rivals, okay, and Overwatch, they need to find their play count, right? They need to see who's loyal, who's going to sustain, and stuff. And I think it's the same thing Tim said too last year, and that's why I made a video that year, because he made a video, and it was like he had just gone back on, either he was back on Rivals or someone had brought up Rivals to him, and he was like, no, Rivals is not dead just because he wasn't playing it, or the fact that I wasn't getting the same recognition. Like, you have to understand, games are going to die out, right? And those are the people, like, people playing off rep, like, we saw that 600,000 with Rivals. Those are people getting interested in the game because everyone's getting interested. And eventually when people like, either A, they're not good, so they're not going to play. B, their favorite YouTubers are not playing anymore, so they're not going to play, right? C, like, it's too sweaty or too, like, hard for them, so they're not going to play, right? They go back to what's comfortable for them, right? Rivals eventually got their player count, and it's been steady. We've seen it. You look at, like, Overwatch. Overwatch has got a steady count. Even though it's not as high as Rivals, right? They're still, like, around that 60, 50-ish percentile. Well, not percentile, but, like 60 to 50,000 members. Well, like, players online, right? Compared to the Rivals 85,000 right now, right? They have that. The reason why Rivals gets a lot of this, number one, is they got the skins, as people know. The characters are more interesting and more fan favorites because, again, they are heroes, while Overwatch are having to think creatively. Sadly, like, that is true, but you also can turn Rivals characters are also viewed differently than you could say comic book, like, comparisons. Like, yeah, to me, Rivals, like, I like Rivals more than I like Overwatch. As you guys can tell, like, I played the game a lot. Like, with PC and stuff, like, it's not gonna be crazy, like, different when I compare it to, like, add it to my, 2 hours. So if you add the 2 hours with the 112 hours, yeah, it's only 114 hours. But, like, I put more time into this game than I have Overwatch. Right? Overwatch, I think I put in, like, 50 hours at best. In total with Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, right? Well, that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, people understand games are not dead just because you don't see them. It's because you don't watch people that watch that. Like, I have people on Fortnite. Like, I got the Cypher BK shit. I got the Nick 830 shit. That's because I used to watch them when I was younger, right? I got the Courage and shit. I got, like, a lot of that. But you have to understand, just because you don't see Rivals doesn't mean Rivals is dead. You know what I mean? Rivals ain't dead just because you think it's dead. You know what I mean? I feel like people just don't understand that. I think people sit there and expect Rivals to be dead just because they don't see it, and it's just like, no, look at the player count. Don't look at Twitch. No, don't look at the Twitch shit. Like, I say look at Twitch in terms of, this is when you will find out, like, how many people are still playing. Like, is it, like, a very good stream game? And the reason why it's probably not a well-streamed game compared to, like, Fortnite, which you can see is losing its fucking 100 plus, like we just saw it at 130 like a couple seconds ago, right? That's just because the fact that Fortnite is viewed, this is more kids than anything. This is not teenagers, this is kids. This is the adults, this is teenagers, right? You could definitely see a lot of teenagers don't play this game unless it's competitively, and even then, right, a lot of those people are putting more focus into Rivals, Overwatch, Valorant, Rainbow Six, Counter-Strike, League, like, they're putting a lot of that's going into a lot of these, and there's going to be some, like, League that's always going to get close to 100,000, because it's not, you gotta think about just the country itself, right? Like, me and my brother talked about it, PUBG gets a lot of love, just it's not in the United States, it's in India. Like, the biggest thing, I wanna know about YouTube, they don't have YouTube gaming anymore, do they? Yeah, just look up PUBG Live. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, but like practically all the PUBG players you're gonna see when it comes to streams, they're just fucking they're just Indian players. But that's just how it is. Like, India loves PUBG, right? But you gotta think about the continent itself and where we are and stuff. So it's like, don't use this or this, because the fact that you see this, like, you're gonna assume only 27,000 people play the game. But then when you look at this, it's like, okay, no, technically 85,000. So there's still like 60,000 people that still play the game. You know what I mean? Like, and it's different than over here. Overwatch has 28, but they're actually at 50,000, right? But it's just because it's not the most viewed streams. Unless you have a go-to stream. Like, I watch Tim like crazy, because Tim's streams are entertaining as fuck, right? But when you look at anything else, it's like, that's just how things are viewed. So you can't assume a game is dead just because you don't see it, right? You gotta look at the numbers. Look it up. Don't be that fucking lazy bitch who assumes one thing. Like, Overwatch, Rivals, they're the two same games, and they're being streamed the exact same numbers, right? Like, Deadlock, which, like I said, is a counterpart to Rivals and to Overwatch, right? Either it's Overwatch or Rivals, or it's like maybe Valor or whatever the fuck. I just know it was big when it came out, because it got Tim playing and he started liking it, and it looked and played similar to how Rivals and Overwatch did, right? But you can see, compared to that, that's 6,500 viewers, right? You know what I mean? Compared to the combined total of like almost 54,000, right? So do your numbers, do your research. The game's not dying just because of the fact that you don't see it. It's just because you don't got anyone playing. You're still living in that one-brained side of things, right? Like, my YouTube, if I was to show you my YouTube page, why the fuck is it in? Let's not do that. That was fucking scary. Like, when you look at my shit, like, you're gonna see superhero shit, you're gonna see podcast shit from superhero shit, but practically, if it's not that, you got stuff about Rivals, right? This is doing weird. There we go. Like, you got Tim, like, you're gonna see some Rivals shit here, right? Now, based off of today, I didn't watch a lot of Rivals, more in the sense of, I think I watched just Tim, so I was like, see, okay, this shit's saying connecting the chat. It's been connecting the chat for, like, years now. I wonder if the viewers me still, though. That'd be crazy. Yeah, but still, like, it's gonna be based off of what you watch, and if you strictly just watch Fortnite, you're not gonna get anything. If I was to move this to gaming and to remove the podcast and stuff, Rivals, Madden, Rivals. Like, we got some Fortnite stuff, but I do because I watch Ronaldo and stuff. Rivals with J3, Rivals. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have something to watch. And if you're watching just Fortnite, you're watching only just Fortnite. So, like, I hate when people say a game is dead, and it's like, it's dead to you, right? And that's fine. Like I say, I think Fortnite is dead. But you can't call a game dead and no one plays it anymore because of the fact that you just assume that just based off some statistical number from, like, Twitch, right? To me, I know I call Fortnite dead, but that's just because Fortnite to me is dead. The Battle Royale side is dead, so it's like Fortnite Battle Royale is dead. Fortnite Roblox is not, right? It's like they haven't done anything to make Fortnite, like, ranked is still dog shit. Like, I made videos on that. Like, I've made videos on tons of shit like that, right? Like, holy fuck. Like, go to videos, see, look, there's my where I was dying. And then literally a year beforehand, ranked versus arena. Like, I prefer arena over ranked, but yet they still have ranked. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. You guys should definitely go check out my YouTube at NTFL Duco. I know it's different than here on Twitch. That's just because I fucking misspelled it. Because my dumbass kept putting the F before the T because I feel like I might be dyslexic. And I was reading it like, oh my god, that read so perfectly. No, it's not. It's supposed to be NTFL. Okay, the moment I realized that, I was like, fuck, I got 30 days at this name. But yeah, no. But no, like I said, I made the same video a while ago. So go check it out though. I might react to it and, you know, see if it fucking looks as similar as I talked about. And then, yeah. So go check it out. If for you guys yourselves, the stream, we're gonna watch it. So if you guys like and enjoy, drop a like and subscribe. Go check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/NFTLDuco. And yeah, you'll be seeing my Rivals streams, Overwatch streams, Journey of Keyboard and Mouse. I'll be posting videos on that as well, because it will be fun. Make sure you guys go do that. Go check out my brother as well. You guys will find him. NTFL, Airflex, the same guy as usual. I gave him a good ass fucking change. Like, you guys remember when this motherfucker has some basic ass shit? Holy fuck. And then go check out my friend. He hasn't created anything yet, really, but you know he does it with TikTok. Yeah, at NTFL Swift, he posts Overwatch and some of these stuff are old, like these old Valorant clips and old Fortnite shit. But he practically plays Overwatch and he occasionally plays Rivals when he has it fucking downloaded. I fucking still hate that, okay? But make sure you guys go do that, and I'll see you guys on next time. Peace out.